have some opinions and I have some thoughts having to do specifically with the real estate market, which is what I specialize in, what I focus on, what my expertise is in, and some of the things that are happening within politics, potentially in the future, and how it could affect you as a purchaser. What is up, everybody? Rory McDonald, Macdon and Associates, coming to you with another episode of Tuesdays with Rory. Very excited to be in front of you all, in front of the camera, having this conversation. Going to get into a pretty dicey topic today that does involve politics in some way, shape, form, or fashion. So if you are easily offended and not able to have conversation and be willing to to argue and have a conversation around different political topics, just move on. This isn't worth fighting and losing friendship over. I have some opinions and I have some thoughts having to do specifically with the real estate market, which is what I specialize in, what I focus on, what my expertise is in, and some of the things that are happening within politics, potentially in the future, and how it could affect you as a purchaser. Before we jump into that, this is all coming from the standpoint in the viewpoint of this kind of mindset and focus that people have that free things are good things. And I would highly disagree with that. Free does not always mean better. Here's a quick example of what it is that I mean. Today, I was at a showing. We actually had the inspection taking place on a property that we had accepted over in New Baltimore. My clients are very excited. They're in the process of selling their house. They've got a baby on the way. They're super pumped. The house, for those of you who are interested in knowing this, the inspection went remarkable. They're very excited to be moving into that home and starting their family there. However, as I was walking out of the house, one of the things that I noticed is the sign that was in the front yard. For those of you who have worked with me, you know that we have really awesome marketing materials here at Macdon Associates, and a lot of other real estate agencies do as well. But the reason behind our heart behind having really awesome marketing materials, and that's our folders, that's our signs, that's our business cards, that's what we hand out to clients, all of that stuff. The reason why it looks as good as it possibly can is because it's a reflection, not just on me as your real estate agent, but you and the quality of time, effort, and energy that you sometimes even put into your home too. For example, somebody who's willing to wipe off the countertops before a showing is somebody who typically would make sure that they're regularly maintaining their furnace, for example. These are just small things that go through a purchaser's head that prepare you, for example, as a seller, to be ready for those types of things. Now, I'm getting off topic here, but when I was walking out, I was talking to the inspector, and one of the things that I noticed as I was walking away from the home and going towards my car is I looked at the sign and something looked weird to me. It was one of those T signs where it comes up and it kind of hangs off the edge here, and then you got the sign that hangs down behind that or underneath that. And as I got closer, usually when you see these things, there's these like really like hooks or carabiners that hold it together. That way, if a wind comes, if somebody decides that they want to, vandalize your sign, they can't just cut it down. It's held up by some sort of metal or something, right? And as I got closer, as I looked, I realized that this sign was flipping zip tied up to the frame of the for the sign. It was really odd and really weird to me that something would be done in such a cheap manner. It didn't look good. It was zip ties holding up this stupid sign. And I know it's such a small thing, and you might be hearing this and going, that's so silly. Who cares? As long as the sign is in the front yard, what difference does it make? I know that. I understand. I get it. Just when the idea of quality in putting your best foot forward in every situation is something that you're trying to do, free is not always the best option, and it reflects on somebody, some way, somehow. It's the reason why I'm having this conversation with you right now in front of the camera, and bringing up free stuff is not always the best. It's because I saw a sign of a company that offers their signs for free, and it's zip tied together. I would not want my name to be associated with a company that their idea of quality is zip tying a sign to the front of a house. I'm sorry, not how I would want to conduct my business. But it got me thinking, and it got me kind of pondering some different things that are happening in our world today. And one of that has to do with politics. So I'm going to bring this up for you guys to take a look at. Here's one of the things that is happening soon to be, or what they're talking about happening in the United States is the Harris and um, Waltz. I always say his name incorrectly. They're proposing a $25,000 down payment support for first-time home buyers. And you might hear this and go, wow, that's awesome. $25,000 for me to go towards purchasing my house. I've never bought a house before. That's amazing. It'll give me, yes, I can't sit here and disagree with you. Having an additional $25,000 is not a bad thing. It's great. If somebody handed you 25 grand and said, here, use this to go buy a house, you'd be very thankful and very happy and very excited that you now have something to go towards what it is that you're purchasing. I get that. That makes sense. This is not new, though. This is not a new thing. Now, they haven't fully rolled out what this is actually going to look like, but let me give you a little glimpse before I go into this article of what it looked like in the past. First and foremost, nothing is free. I repeat, there is nothing in this world that is actually free to you. You might talk to a lender and they say, hey, we're going to give you free discount points going towards the discount and reduction of your rate in your mortgage. They're not free. They're rolling it in some way, shape, form, or fashion so that the bank ends up getting paid. I'm just going to be honest with you. That is the reality. That is what works. That is what ends up happening. And it's the same thing in this situation. Years ago, when I first got started in real estate, there was this program called MISHDA. And MISHDA is a wonderful program for first-time home buyers, similar to what it is that this might be. But the amount that they were willing to give first-time buyers was $7,500 to go towards their closing costs, towards their down payment, towards all kinds of other things when it comes to the purchase of that house. Now, here's the catch that they would always kind of go around is they'd advertise this as like, hey, this is kind of free money. But the reality is, and what they oftentimes didn't tell people until they went through a class to see it, is this is not free money. It's actually a lien against the house. It's an additional kind of like a mortgage against the house to go towards, in the case that you ever decide that you want to sell this home, you got to pay that money back. So let's just pretend really quick, you buy a house at $100,000, nice round, even easy numbers, right? You buy a house at $100,000. It's your first time buying. You put down 3% on that home. You put down 3%, that's $3,000. Your loan is based off of $97,000. And let's say you live there over the course of 5 years. On average, a home raises its value about 5%, give or take. Let's say it was a great year, 5% every single year. So next year, your house is going to be worth $105,000. The year after that, give or take, I know my numbers are going to be off a little bit here, but it's going to be worth, close to $110,000, maybe a little bit over. The year after that, you're looking at right around $115,000, $116,000. The year after that, $121,000, and then the year after that, you're looking at about $125,000. Let's call it $125,000 that you now owe on this mortgage that the value of the home is at. And your mortgage is based off of the $93,000 because you paid some of it off over those 7 years or 5 years that you live there. What ends up happening is you decide now, hey, we need to get a new house. Let's sell. When you sell that house, you're going to have closing costs, and your total closing costs, and I'm not talking about commissions or fees or anything like that, most times fall in the ballpark like 7 to 8%. That's everything. That's title work. That's you paying taxes for the sale. That's you go down the list. They fall right in that ballpark of 7 to 8%. Now that's set. Let's call it $8,000. We'll round up. On top of that, you also have a $7,500 down payment assistance. It was called MISHDA at the time, that you also need to pay off. So you've got all this equity. You've got, $30,000, whatever is in equity, but immediately right off the bat, you need to remove close to $15,000 worth of that equity. You can basically take it and cut it in half. Maybe in most cases, even more so than that. So this is one of the things that kind of stinks about that people don't understand is this money that they give away is never free money. It's just they haven't rolled out how it is that they're going to actually have people pay for it. Anyways, that being said, it used to be $7,500. Since then, it's changed. It was at $10,000 for the longest time. And now the conversation is revolving around this down payment assistance of being $25,000. Now I'm going to get into this article a little bit. Here we go. When Vice President Kamala Harris unveiled her economic policy proposal in Raleigh, North Carolina on Friday, it was included a proposal to provide $25,000, up to $25,000, in down payment support for first-time homebuyers, according to the campaign official. The campaign is vowing that during its first term, the Harris Waltz administration would provide working families who have paid their rent on time for the last 2 years and are buying their first home up to $25,000 in down payment assistance with more generous support for first-time home buyers. First and foremost, me looking at this without knowing what I know right now, being a general consumer in the market, that sounds awesome. You're going to give me 25 grand for me to be able to go out and buy houses. I think that this is a great thing. Keep going on this. In a preview statement obtained by ABC News, the campaign says many Americans work hard at their jobs, save, pay rent on time and month after month, and they can't save enough after paying their rent and other bills to save for a down payment. I can understand that. I've been in that position before. I know many friends and family are in that position. Denying them a shot at owning a home and building wealth. As the Harris Waltz plan starts to expand the supply of entry-level homes, they will, during their first term, provide working families who have paid their rent on time for 2 years and are buying their first home up to $25,000 down payment assistance with more generous support for first-generation homeowners. So let's just pretend really quick that you're not a first-generation homeowner. Your parents owned a home. You are renting a home and you're in Clinton Township, for example, and you want to now go purchase a home, and you've been gifted this $25,000 in order for you to buy your next home. Here's the problem that I have with that. First and foremost, $25,000 is going to cover the down payment and closing costs and a lot of those things for not a lot of houses within this area. So you're looking at probably like a $250,000, maybe $1,000 house, which even in Clinton Township is just difficult to find. So now you're going to have to increase what it is that you're actually looking for. You're going to have to go up to the 275 or 300 or 325. You're forced now to have to spend more money because everybody and their mother who is going to apply and be capable of doing this program and qualifying for this program is going to be bidding on the same homes. They're going to be bidding on the same places, which is forcing you who, you've saved up a ton of money, and this is now going to help you be able to do that. You're going to be competing with a whole bunch of people who are in the exact same position as you and have been gifted this money, which is a great thing. I don't want to deny that. It's a good thing that this money is being given out. But it's not going to help you because you got to compete with all these other people now who have another $25,000 in their arsenal. Let's keep going with this because there's a big part in this that I highly disagree with. Biden-Harris administration proposed providing $25,000 in down payment assistance for 400,000 first-generation home buyers. For home buyers whose parents don't own a home, a $10,000 tax credit for first-time home buyers. A first-time tax credit for first-time homebuyers. This plan will significantly simplify and expand the reach of down payment assistance, allowing over 1 million first-time homebuyers per year, including first-generation homebuyers. To get the funds, they need to buy a house when they are ready to buy, Harris said. Okay, let me keep going down here. They also released more information. Okay, here we go. So before I jump into this, here's the biggest thing. And this is like normal, easy, makes sense supply and demand. And I've had this conversation about supply and demand so many times in this podcast and in other podcasts too. Here's how supply and demand works. This is not a real estate thing. This is just a knowledge thing, economics that you should have learned probably in like third grade. When you have a lack of supply of anything, the demand automatically will increase. It might not increase significantly, but it automatically will increase. Okay. Now you can use this with absolutely anything, not just houses. Let's rewind really quick. Way back when Obama was running and he was going into office, one of the things that, whether true or not, was said to the American public is that Obama is going to come and he's going to take your firearms and he's going to go after your AR-15s. What happened was, and this is anywhere in the United States, you could go into any gun store and they did not have AR-15s. They were hard to find, hard to buy, hard to do anything. Not because they were taken off the shelves, but because they were purchased so quickly. Immediately following that, the cost of the AR-15 darn near doubled. It just increased. It went up. It continued to go up, and it's where it's at today. It's actually come down a little bit since then. This is the exact same thing if you look at cars during COVID-19. We had such a lack of vehicles that people in specifically car dealerships were able to charge whatever the heck they wanted. They were could charge above even the sticker price on most cars because they knew there wasn't any other option for you. This is what we've got. This is what any car dealership has. Take it or leave it, buy it, shut up, pay us, get off of our lot. That's how supply and demand works. And in fact, in most cases, there are people bidding on cars in car lots to try and get the price up even higher so that they landed the car that they wanted. This is not a change or a difference for anything else. And now with the housing market, here's how it worked. COVID-19 hit, we saw this massive, drastic change with the houses on the market going way down. And truthfully, the reason behind that is we were not allowed to work as real estate agents. We weren't allowed to list houses. We weren't allowed to put stuff on the market. We weren't allowed to go show houses to purchasers. We weren't allowed to do it. It put a halt on everything having to do with the real estate market. It stopped. Because of that, because there was nothing else going on the market, we sat around twiddling our thumbs. And as soon as the market opened back up, the market flooded with buyers ready to go purchase because the rates were low. Demand was super low, and the supply was super low, and the demand increased so drastically that we had this bidding war on absolutely everything, and things going for 50, 60, 70, $100,000 more than what they were listed at. It was crazy. It was absolutely nuts. Now, this is where we're at still. The market in the real estate market specifically, in the changes that we've seen in terms of supply, have not gone back even to what normal was pre-COVID. We still have a lack of supply. We do not have enough houses. And for those builders out there that are working their tails off, I know you guys are not just trying to make a buck, but trying to help fix this problem and increase the number of houses, the supply that's on the market. The cost of everything is so high right now, they can't afford to do it. They can't afford to put a house on the market for $250,000. They can't afford to put a house on the market for even $350,000. They have to, without any choice in their mind, put the house on for 400 because now at least we're able to draw some profit on this. We're able to draw some kind of income on this. And that's where they're at. That's the problem that we're running into. And this isn't helping first-time home purchasers. This isn't helping first-time buyers. These are people who are buying their second, third, fourth house, retiring. Kids they're on their second job. They're deep in their careers. They've had the raises that they need to, and now they can actually afford that $400,000 house. This is not the first-time buyer. The first-time buyer, their main thing that they're focused on, like I said before, is the $200,000 to $350,000 range. That's what they can buy. That's what they can afford, and that's we're going to see increase drastically. Now, with all that being said, here's the thing that I really wanted to point out. Right here, prior to Harris's speech on Friday, an official also released more details on the housing component of Vice President Harris's lower cost plan to help end the supply shortage. How is this going to any way, shape, form, or fashion help end the supply or help any amount of shortage that we have? This is going to combat anything that you do to increase the amount of homes that are on the market. And you're not going to be building houses unless you as the government, or we as the government, which our tax dollars are paying for them to do this. If you build a ton of houses, they have to be profitable still. You have to be able to have some sort of good income from the things that you're building. You have to win. You have to be in the green when it comes to building these houses. It's not possible for builders to do it. So what makes you think that we're able to all of a sudden? We're just going to create things, and this is what I think is going to end up happening. The government's going to go and they're going to build houses. Majority of these houses are going to be built in places where majority of people don't want to be. They're going to tear down old, dilapidated homes. They're going to build new houses. And it's going to be in areas that people either don't want to be, or in places where people can't afford. They can't afford to live. That's where I think this is going to end up going. And I think it's going to be pretty rough if this actually ends up passing and happening. Now, I'm not saying all this as a means of saying I'm taking a political stance and I'm saying support Kamala or, support Trump or anything like that. That's not at all what I'm saying. What I'm simply saying is the more I look into this particular conversation, this particular policy, and things that like, hey, free stuff is the best thing ever, the less I agree with it, the less I like what it is that's happening, the less I want to be a part of it, and the less I can support it, honestly, because I truthfully believe that my views and my focus when it comes to people who are purchasing their first home, second home, third house, selling a house, whatever it might be, this will only help people who are selling their house. It will not help people who are buying their house. Now, if you're selling a home and you don't plan on ever purchasing a home again, you're the best person. You're the best winner. You win in this situation. But if you're somebody who has to buy a house after you sell, this 100% will hurt you. You now have to outbid somebody who just had an influx of cash of $25,000. Best of luck to you. I don't think it's a great thing, but that's just my opinion. Would love to hear yours. Go ahead and comment below if you have any thoughts or opinions that are different than mine or the same. Would love to hear them. And if you ever want to have a discussion like this that goes a little bit more in depth, I think that would be awesome. We need to do more of that here in our country and in our state of Michigan. So I love you guys. Thankful for you. Besides that, have a very blessed day. We'll see you.